Welcome to the SWADE Pro Show podcast. The views and opinions expressed by the host and guest are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of any organization that they represent. The content is for informational and educational purposes only and should not be considered as professional advice. Listener discretion is advised.
So Brent,
what's up?
Thanks for coming.
Hey,
that's for you.
It's a pleasure to be. Man. And I just thought you was kind of cool. Now I know you're really cool.
Now I'm official.
You're official. That's cool.
Yeah, I bought a bunch of those, like 22 of them or whatever, and I was going to sell them, but I thought, you know what? I wouldn't buy one, so why would I expect someone else? I'll just give them away.
Yeah. No, it's great.
Especially for, if you got to make any money, those things got to be like $25.
How did it turn out? SWADE.
SWADE. Oh. You're messing with me now.
Sorry.
Get my money back. All right. So, Brent, I'm going to introduce you. First of all, you doing okay?
I'm doing awesome.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Staying very, very busy as usual. Yeah. And it's all right.
Good.
Yeah.
So our next guest has helped musicians from Snoop-Dogg to Chris Tomlin and many, many in between. It's also been said that he's considered to be one of the most famous artists you've never heard of, but yet he has over 9,000 plus sold out performances under his belt and has performed at numerous prestigious venues such as Red Rocks on multiple occasions. Mm-hmm. He has been said that he has been seen by over 150 million viewers via television, music, and his music heard in over 58 countries. This is Brent Frazier.
Wow. Yeah, I need to meet this guy.
I do too. That's why I'm having you again. We had so much fun the first time. All right, so this time I'll try not to be so nervous. So I know the last time we talked about how you got started, but so we're going to go through that. So what sparked your interest in music?
I've always had it. To kind of give you a brief, my father pastored a church, and so Dad would play simple chords on a guitar, and my mom played piano, and I had a brother that's 5 years older, and he played drums. But Mom played piano 3 hours before I was born at church, and so it's just one of those things. I guess I always felt it, being with her, everything. And this was in Texas, but by 3 years old, the old timers, they got me up and they let me play a hymn book like a guitar,
So you played the book like it was a guitar.
Exactly. And so I got set up with the guys up on the platform, and I played with them. And then eventually they gave me an electric guitar, but they wouldn't plug it in. And so I beat the crap out of that.
Right.
thing. And so I just never stopped playing.
That's awesome.
And so I ended up being in my first band at 9, traveling band. And we played, by that time we had moved to Arkansas. Mm-hmm. And so I was playing primarily about 5 different states, at that time. And then I ended up in Springfield, Missouri, where a family had a bus, and they toured, and we played the Christian convention circuit. Mm. And so they were affiliated with the Assembly of God, but we played all the convention circuits, basically for the southeast, I guess, if you will. So basically everywhere from Missouri down into Texas on over into Orlando,
wow.
Florida.
Yeah.
And so at that time I had a bunk in in an old Eagle bus, and I toured till I was just almost 16 at that point. And
Goodness.
From
9 to 16.
Yeah.
That's 7 years of getting it.
And I still have, it's funny because in my scrapbook, I still have a lot of my dates written down and what the tours were and all that stuff. So it's kind of interesting to see, you know.
Were you homeschooled by chance or anything? I mean, you're on the road a lot.
Yeah, I mean, most of my schooling I did not get a formal education. It was just kind of a crazy time in that, and so I learned a lot of street smarts.
Right, you learned a lot of guitar smarts.
A lot of guitar smarts
and music. Not just to talk about the guitar. You're musically gifted for sure. So whenever you said you started roughly 3, what age did they give you the guitar, the electric
at 3?
At 3.
Yeah, I was almost 4.
Goodness.
Yeah. So I didn't play the hymn book very long.
Right. You upgraded to the guitar.
Yeah, and so
goodness,
I just beat the crap out of it. That's about all I could say.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So they finally taught me some chords. So I learned G, C, D, E, A. And that's why I started working on those. At 11 years old, my brother bought me my first album. As far as an album goes, and it was B.B. King's Thrill Is Gone.
B.B. King.
And so I kind of just locked myself in the room and I tried to learn every lick that I could on that album.
Playing by ear.
And of course, back in those days, you didn't have internet. So,
right.
It's not like you could just go look something up like you can today.
Right.
In today's world, you pull up guitar licks, for a certain song, whatever, right. and you can, there's guys that are out there kind of showing you at least what they feel it is, if it's not exact,
Yeah,
so you got something to work. But no, back then it was everything.
Right.
And I moved from that to Leonard Skinner and just on and on and on. And it was very common whenever I was not traveling. I would be locked in my room for anywhere from 9 to 12 hours a day, and I just played. That's all I knew to do.
Hey, you! If you're enjoying this, why not give us a like and consider following us wherever you get your podcast? Sharing is caring, and we would love your feedback, so drop us a line. Now, back to the SWADE Pro Show.
And whenever my dad had left, my mom and dad separated, and in Missouri, and whenever Dad left, he had a radio broadcast, so he left an old 2-track reel-to-reel, quarter-inch reel-to-reel there, old Sony, and I was able to figure out how I could record a rhythm guitar on one track and then play it back and be able to play lead too.
Oh, wow, sounds like Boston.
So it was Tom Schultz, whole different story.
Man, I'm telling you, man, the Boston, I love it.
Yeah.
That's just a classic case of, man, I just got to do something.
And, he did all that in his basement.
Exactly.
He was just phenomenal, incredible engineer.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's like you.
Well,
what's the difference?
I don't know. It just, sometimes you build your house with what tools you have.
Exactly.
And, that's kind of what I did at the time. So I would go to the library, anything I could, I remember watching Midnight Special down to Don Kirshner's rock concert, and going, man, I need to learn how they're doing that.
I'm not familiar with that one.
Oh, well, yeah, that's Don Kirshner. Come on, 1:00 on Friday night. Yeah, way after Midnight Special.
Right.
And it was a different time, shall we say. And so
you earned everything you knew, because it wasn't. If you were lucky, you'd get a monthly magazine or something like that might show you chords on a random song. No guarantee.
No guarantee.
Right.
And there was not a lot of guitar books out there.
That's what I'm saying. So you're purely self-taught, which is the best way to be taught.
My mom, after Dad had left, Mom would try to take me to some of the jams around town, and I'd try to sit in with those guys, and some of them took me under their wings, and
that's good.
Kind of worked with things, and and that's then I went on the road at 12, and I continued that till, like I said, almost 16, and I was one of those guys where whenever I'd go to a party, if I didn't have a guitar, they would take me back home to get it. And so, you know, it was just kind of the way that always worked. But I had a band waiting on me in Texas at 18, and I'd met some guys previously, and they said, well, whenever you turn 18, because the legal age at that time was 18 in Texas, come on down, you know, we got a band for you. So I did. And I went to work at a music store down there while I was playing at night. So I started teaching, working on guitars and, you know, learning equipment, things like that.
Good. Both sides.
And then I ended up getting my own band together. And so ended up touring Texas till I was right at 24, you know, just almost right at 24.
And what songs were you playing back then? Say from 12 to, I mean, what were you playing?
Oh, well, at 12, a lot of it was Christian music. You know, it was not necessarily hymn books,
right.
but, you know, back in those days, I worked with a lot of artists for the people that probably would not know them. It was everyone from the Happy Goodmans to the Florida Boys, the Hensons, the Hemp Hills, Dottie and Buck Rambo.
I just wonder, like, when you went to Texas, did the genre change?
Oh yeah, because now I'm playing rock and roll.
Okay.
You know, so I got out of the Christian, I was doing rock and roll. I was partying. Right. Just that simple. Of course, I partied, you know, earlier, but we won't discuss that.
Yeah, but I mean, the music. So, like, what songs were you playing then? I mean,
at 18?
Yeah.
Oh God. So at 18, let me see. Def Leppard. You know, they had just hit the scene. Of course, I remember the day that, you know, I watched MTV the first time, you know, it came on the air. And all the songs that was hits, it was, you know, 38 Special.
All the good stuff.
Skinner, AC/DC, Judas Priest, Rush. I mean, there was a lot of material that, you know, we worked on. Then I started working on my own material as well. So, you know, we was doing a lot of my own material. And I'm still friends with a lot of those guys from the band, which is pretty cool. That's a long time, you know, and we're scattered out, but, you know, we talk every now and then, and it's kind of fun to reminisce. And some have got out of the music business, and one of my great friends, he's been the audio engineer for the Presleys in Branson for 28 years now. Wow. And, you know, I helped him move to Branson and help, you know, get contacts, things like that. So that's really, I mean, up to that point, Stacy, I took a little bit of a break, ended up in Hot Springs, and this is where my first son was born at, and Eric. And I moved back to Missouri at that time, and I met a gentleman by the name of Jeff Williams. Okay. And Jeff Williams was working on a lot of different projects. So we did an album called Virgin Heart, and I thought it was pretty good stuff, you know, back
Still
then.
Still rock and roll, right?
Oh, it was definitely rock and roll. Awesome. And Jeff had, you know, he had long hair and everything, and he's incredibly creative. One of the most creative individuals that I've ever known. Awesome. Still is.
Why do you say that?
Well, because he was an artist, number one. And so he literally could draw anything. He just had one of those creative minds. But we ended up starting a band called Wilder.
Okay.
And later changed it to Carmen Wilder. But we ended up all together, the band put out 11 albums.
Wow.
Had a couple of MTV nominations and things. But, you know, one of the albums that we put out was Trinity of Sons. And so I told Jeff, we were sitting at a Mexican villa having having lunch, and I said, I'd like to do a concept album.
Okay.
And so we almost was kind of a Rush kind of a band in a way, but not.
Why do you say that?
Well, because the music was designed more. It wasn't bubblegum rock and roll.
Okay.
It was, it was pretty detailed, more kind of like Rush, did. But anyhow, Jeff wrote this incredible storyline. And we ended up getting Anne Boleyn, which was affiliated with Ronnie James Dio out of Las Vegas, and she was managing us. And so, anyhow, all the CDs were coming out and all that, and we got the management and. I don't know if you knew, but at the time, like you had like the newspaper stands, where you go put your change in and get a newspaper.
Right. They're usually yellow or red.
Yeah. So, how they used to advertise real estate and all that stuff.
Right.
So like whenever I did a show in LA and I'm walking down Sunset and I look over and there's these rows of magazines, on the scene magazines and all that stuff. And it was so cool to see. I was like, oh God, that's me.
That's awesome.
And I was on the cover of one of the magazines.
That is awesome.
And so, anyhow, I ended up, during that time, I met a gentleman named Bill Conklin who found out about me since I had worked on guitars and stuff. And he was a custom guitar builder. A custom luthier, if you will. And so Bill asked me if I could start wiring up his guitars and doing the setup because he knew basic playing, kind of like Leo Fender. He wasn't a guitar player. He relied on musicians to tell him.
I didn't know that.
And so, Bill was like, man, I want you to, start working. It wasn't long. We was working out of a bedroom. And things started building up, and we started putting out a lot of well-known guitars. So I ended up being the technical luthier for Conklin Guitars. And so...
that's awesome, man.
It was... God, I'm giving you a whole life story here.
You're good. I love
it. The guitars were... We ended up, for instance, Steve Vai... Whenever he was with White Snake.
There you go.
Sammy Hagar.
There you go.
When he was with Van Halen.
I still haven't had any of his tequila, by the way. The Cabo
It's
Wabo.
Actually, it's pretty good.
I've heard it's really good. I've never had it.
Very good, yeah. And such a great guy.
I've heard that too.
Oh, man, just an awesome individual. Just what you see is what you get. And I love that. Yeah. I love real.
Yeah, that's right.
But, back in those days, it's funny because I look at my lanyard wall and it's like, oh my God, I forgot all about that.
That's awesome.
And so, back in those days, we was making guitars for so many different artists, Warrant, working, with bands like Cinderella. It was just all over the place. And, you didn't think anything about it. And back then, of course, you didn't have a phone. You didn't have a cell phone. Right. So if you carried around a camera, you just didn't do that. That was uncool.
You didn't
they
take
would
pictures?
Kick you out. No, you couldn't take pictures.
Man,
they had a media guy that was there. Now,
sounds like Axl Rose or something,
Yeah. No, it's just the way it was. And so, it's, during that time, between Wilder and working with Conklin Guitars, it was, just traveling and touring everywhere and, go to Chicago, eating ribs out in the bay, looking back towards the city, on a yacht somewhere, and
that's
just
awesome.
Or standing between guys, like Georgia Lynch, and and just kind of hanging out and just having conversations. A lot of stories, a lot of situations. So anyhow, I continued that, and my family started happening, and I was like, okay, now the real money's got to happen. So Anne Boleyn had taken off, and she ended up going to the UK and took us for several millions of dollars. So it really put a damper on things, but the band still continued, but things, it's rock and roll. It's a music business.
I bet it'd be hard to recoup from something like that. You're talking a lot of money. She took the capital, if you will, but she didn't take the talent. I mean, y'all could still build up,
Exactly. And I mean, we had some of our album covers were done, by such artists, that did Meatloaf and a lot of famous album covers and stuff like that. So, yeah, pretty interesting. But we still collaborate together. We still put some stuff out together every now and then. We just had a release about 6 months ago, I guess, something like that, on a new song, and it was done incredibly well. Yeah, I was very happy with it.
So how many albums have you released?
I don't I don't know.
You don't know? That's good. That's a good thing,
I know that as a musician, I know that I have played on over 400 albums. That I do know, and I know there's thousands of projects. But I don't know. It would take a while, because I started Big Event Music in 1999. What had happened, I left Wilder and went right to Branson. Mm-hmm. And so altogether in Branson, I was in Branson for like 14 years, something like that. Mm-hmm. And I became a utility guy. So I was working country, but I was, I think my last year in Branson, I did 458 shows.
Goodness.
And, it was just a
lot of 2 a days.
Yeah, 2 and 3 a day, And so, you'd go do a show that morning, sometimes a matinee, and then you'd have that show that evening. But it's doing the same show. But I became a utility guy because I'm a multi-string instrumentalist, and so they would say someone was in an accident, someone got married, whatever, and they had to take a break. They would call me, give me the charts, and I would, go fill in their place.
Stand in.
It was a very humbling at times.
Why do you say that?
Well, because a lot of these people, they wanted you to prove yourself. They're not going to take you on who you are. They want proof that, this guy, he really can perform.
So how would you prove yourself?
By just do your job.
I would think
that's
your name,
all you can do.
I would think your name and the fact that they get your own backup would be just about enough.
You would think so, but it's really not, because there's so much. A lot of these people in this industry have done so much that they've worked with a lot of people that are fly by night. That and there's so much ego involved.
Oh yeah,
that you've always got to.
That's art, isn't it? Ego is an art.
Unfortunately,
I think ego is spelled A-R-T. I'm dead serious.
Yeah, but there's a lot said to that. So,
which is good in the beginning, because you got to be your best fan. You know what I mean?
I agree with you.
You got to keep it going.
Well, I opened up Big Event Music as a recording studio. I had a 3,800 square foot home, and so the basement I turned into a studio, and out on 10 acres, and it was just beautiful, isolate area, and people would love to come and record there.
Yeah.
And so that was 99, the end of 99. 2006, my dad was in Hot Springs, and he said, hey, why don't you open up a music store down here? And I said, there's only one, and we just don't have a lot of competition, and I'd like to, see you move down here. So I didn't want to. I looked around, and the location I'm at now I've been there since 2007.
That's awesome.
And the studio was the first thing I opened up. And the studio, I have worked with a lot of interesting artists. As you said, Snoop-Dogg, the pianist for the Jackson 5, come in and was doing, the tracks for Snoop-Dogg. Down to this morning, I recorded a 30-second spot for Scott Makeda that was involved in the Panama serial killers.
Oh, wow.
And
that's awesome.
With Buffalo Bill, which was the Jolly Rancher killer. that is still in prison and in Panama.
Awesome.
So, I've ended up working with a lot of different institutions, on doing different things, audiobooks, as well as many recordings. It's funny because the other night there's a show on about the Judds, and
Brandy's seen that show. She said it's really good.
Okay. And so Larry Strickland, which
I haven't seen it.
Okay, Larry Strickland, who was married to Naomi, we were kind of watching the show, and of course my wife was born in Nashville and knows many artists over there.
There's a lot there.
With them.
There's a lot there.
Oh God, yeah. I have so many great friends in Nashville. I love just visiting. But anyhow, I said, "Oh, it's Larry Strickland." She goes, "You know Larry Strickland?" I went, "Yeah, he had the Palomino Quartet, and I recorded them one night whenever they was going on tour, coming down through, and that was her husband, at the time. So, and he was there, whenever she passed away and all that. So, that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's really crazy. One day I got a phone call, and this gentleman said, "Hey, I'm Nick Morrock, and I need to come in and lay some tracks down." And I said, "Okay, Nick, that's no problem. What time I do it?" And we met and all that. And I uploaded or downloaded what he had sent and put it into my. Put it into my program. Yeah. And I said, "David Bowie stuff? What?" He goes, "Yeah, it's a David Bowie cover band in New York." And I said, "Well, why are they calling you to do that?" And he said, "Well, they wanted the original guitarist." And, come to find out, Nick, he was visiting his mom and needed to put down 8 tracks and send them to New York. And then I got talking to him, and he was the studio musician that also did all the Elton John stuff. Wow. So every time you hear Elton John song, that's him on guitar. And so it's been an interesting ride. You just never know.
It is. It sounds like it, because I listen to the satellite radio, the Sirius stuff, and I listen to Tommy London. He always has this little show on, I think it's Hair Nation or whatever it is. What is it? 6 ways. He could narrow it down 6 ways he's like related or something to what's his name from golly. 6 ways. Now I feel horrible because I brought it up. I can't think of it.
I know
he was with Pamela Anderson, that guy.
Oh, with Tommy Lee.
Tommy Lee, yeah. Thank you, save me, thank you. Yeah, 6 ways he's intersected with Tommy Lee or whatever. I forget how it is, but it's really cool. Yeah. And people try to say, like, for example, Wes Craven. Just an example. He goes, "Oh, well, I met Wes Craven. I was at this party. And that's how I met Tommy Lee." Yeah, I mean, it's really neat. Yeah.
So I put an album out one time. It was a band called the Flying Blue Cubits, and we put an album out early 2000, and it did pretty well. And this was right at the time I started Big Event Music, and it was so funny because Steve Carl, the guy I was working with, he was just an incredibly talented, intelligent man, big man. And he comes in, and he puts this letter down, and it's this guy talking about how he loves to write while he's listening to us. And you get down at the bottom of it, and it's Dean Koontz.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like,
oh, wow.
Oh, well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, my wife Brandy loves Dean, or she used to love Dean Koontz.
Yeah.
So is that the detective guy? I can't remember which one.
Yeah, he did a lot of detective stuff. Right. And it was like, yeah, okay, well, that's pretty cool.
That is awesome, man.
That a guy actually writes a letter to let you know that, hey, I appreciate your material, and this is what I like to listen to while I'm writing and stuff like that. And you go, okay.
Yeah, that's right. He actually took the time and wrote a letter, and that means a lot,
I still have a copy of that letter.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It is pretty interesting.
So last time we recorded, there was a song that I haven't listened to. So on your album, your newest album. So I left your studio and I went to Sam's and I was listening to your music. Okay, that's really good stuff.
Oh, thank you.
Now again, I'm caught off guard with my head. I can't think of the name of the songs, but it was not the first one. It was the second one or third one on the album that you said I should listen to.
So What You Want, Come Over Here.
I think it's What You Want.
Yeah.
I think that's the one.
What You Want.
That is really good.
Thank you.
Really good.
Yeah. And it's funny. I wrote that in Natchez, Mississippi.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was I don't know. Some people, they kind of look like how they sound, when they talk and everything. You sound different, like on your vocals, and I like that.
Well, yeah, I can see that.
You know what I mean? Like some people, Yeah. But yours is
My
good.
Barry White voice comes out. No, just kidding.
It's really good. I mean, the album's really good, and it's. You said last time as well that we're so, and I was talking to somebody about this a couple of weeks ago. We're so blessed here in Hot Springs and in the local area. There's so much talent, so much good talent, and then you go other places that you're like, oh, hold on,
Yeah.
And I was talking to somebody else about that, and they agreed that there's a lot of talent in Central Arkansas, especially since we're here. There's a lot here, and so you get spoiled by that.
Very much so.
So
and you get acclimated to it.
Exactly.
And so you just take it for granted. So there is a lot of people, because I have a band that still performs out called The Phrase, and the album that you was talking about, I released that last February.
Right.
And that's called Highway 62, Brent Frazier, Highway 62, The Best for Now.
Right.
And I actually have other material that I did not release on that album, but it's available on Spotify, iTunes, all the digital platforms.
Awesome.
And so if you get a chance, please, whoever,
right, check it out.
Please listen to it. But the talent, it has been said that there is per capita, there are more talented musicians, working musicians, per capita in Hot Springs than there is in Nashville.
Wow. See, I just got back from Nashville a couple weeks ago. And me and Brandy went during the day because I didn't want to go at nighttime on that strip, whatever.
Yeah, Broadway or 2nd Street.
Yeah, Broadway, I think it was. And we obviously had to go to Bon Jovi's bar because I love Bon Jovi. And huge fan of his and his writing. He writes most of the stuff. I love that.
Yeah.
So anyway, we went and checked that out, and it was probably noonish, maybe a little before, when we were checking all that out. And there's people everywhere.
Oh yeah.
The smell was horrible. It smelled like smoke stored up beer everywhere. But I mean, I would hate to be there at night. It's just not my scene.
Yeah. And it's very crowded there.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was midday, and we had to wait for people to move and everything.
Sure.
I'm not complaining. I'm glad I got to experience it, but
yeah. Well, I mean, Nashville is what it is, and Nashville has changed so much. It's a constant change.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just a constant change, and it's okay.
It's a neat place.
Yeah. Oh, it's full of so much history and
right.
And
you can kind of feel that on your shoulders when you're walking around during Broadway or whatever that road is, and you're walking on the Hank Williams bar, the Garth Brooks bar, the Toby Keith. I mean, all these people. Yeah. And then there's like a Cane's in the middle of it. I'm like, food.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah,
that's about right.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
So
but yeah, trying to find a place to park. That's the other fun part.
Well, we were there on a Tuesday, so it was a Tuesday we went through, so it wasn't very busy at all.
Oh, that's good.
But still, it was busy for a Tuesday at midday at Broadway.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. So I find that stat very crazy, and it's hard to believe there's more in Hot Springs than there is in Nashville.
Per capita.
Right.
Yeah. You have to look at the per capita, but there is so much talent around here because of the different genres, and everything kind of has a click to it. So this evening I'll be working with the Muses, and the Muses is a arts organization, and they are focused around opera and Broadway. And so the talent that I'm working with tonight as an audio engineer, the talent that I'm working with has come from Florida, New York, Seattle. I'm trying to think where it seems like there's no one. Yeah, they're from all over.
Wow.
And they come here to assimilate. Yeah, they assimilate here, and then they go out and do their shows. So like the Governor's Mansion and the prestigious, places like that. And I've been fortunate to play the Governor's Mansion here a couple of times, which was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
sold out crowd, I'm sure.
Well, it's a little different. They
probably buy a ticket. Or whatever.
Well, they buy their dinners basically.
Right.
And so it's funny. I was sitting there one time I'd played and I got a free meal, and I found out that the average plate was $12,000.
Oh my goodness!
And so I'd take a bite and I'd kind of take a bite and kind of chew, and I'd go, there's $50, there's
more than that,
75, and 100. By the time I'd swallow it, I think I was up to like $400.
12,000 a plate, not 1,200. 12,000.
Yeah.
Goodness.
And and you've got many delegates that are there for that. So
I need to sell food.
and it's funny because one time I was playing there, and the audio engineer was like, I need you to come here and check out our system real quick and show me what this does, So yeah, and then of course I played Ted Danson's place, down there, and everything, and a lot of interesting venues, and like you mentioned, the Red Rocks, that just incredible. It's funny because a buddy of mine just played there a couple of nights ago with Billy Idol. And,
oh wow!
So anyhow, it was it's a very small world.
So I know I asked you these questions before, but I'll ask you again. So in Hot Springs, is the music capital, I believe, for Arkansas.
Yeah, I agree with you.
For Arkansas.
Yeah.
More than Northwest.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you say your favorite areas to play in Hot Springs is? Don't list them in order, but like, would you say such, no particular order?
Well, yeah, and there is no particular order.
Correct.
As far as that. But I would love to give you a definitive answer. Unfortunately, I cannot.
Because just top three, maybe?
Well, it depends on what you're doing. If you're a full band or if you're doing a solo duo act, whatever you're doing, because there's so many different places.
I got you.
The Ohio Club has been infamous for many years, and so performing there, a lot of great talent has played there. And I think we talked about this before. It's where Tony Bennett sang "I Left My Heart in San Francisco" to the bartender for the first time before he performed it at the Vapors the next night.
Right.
And so, and of course, you got guys like Oni Madden and stuff like that.
Right.
That and it's funny because I was talking to Robert Raines last night.
Real good guy.
And he's got his documentary that's getting ready to come out.
That's awesome.
And he owns the Gangster Museum.
And he's still in the hat place too.
Oh yeah. And he's just a wealth of knowledge for all the stuff. I still think that he's privately, in hiding somewhere. We'll put it that way.
He knows way too much.
Yeah, he knows a lot, but
he may know too much to be not be a threat. You know what I mean? He knows just enough.
He's such a great guy.
Yeah, he is.
And of course, the list just goes on for places to play. The Big Chill, whenever Gina had it, was an awesome place. And now Brian and Callista are really doing a lot of upgrades to the Big Chill and trying to make it, more of a current type feel. Oaklawn, of course, Oaklawn has, Pop's Lounge in it. So you don't have to always play the main venue. They've got a live entertainment there every Friday and Saturday.
Kind of like a more intimate, kind of like the Ohio Club. It's more intimate to me.
It's a bigger room, definitely, and a lot more, controlled environment. That's for sure.
That's
I
good.
would say, because Big Brother's always watching.
I don't know about all that, but I like the more controlled environment. That's why that's why I'm happy I'm doing everything here. I got all the lights set and everything.
Absolutely.
Tape on the floor. I just, smile and aim the camera,
Yeah, and that's okay.
I like it.
That's okay.
So if a new artist, say somebody wanted to pick up the guitar, bass, electric, whatever you want to call it, acoustic, what would be the steps you would suggest for them?
Well, you definitely, there's a lot of people that want to watch, they get free advice on YouTube.
All day.
Things like that. The problem with learning an instrument is not just learning the instrument, but it's in how to properly hold a pick, how to properly hold your instrument, your positioning, things like that. And really qualified instructors are the smart way to go with that, because they can see that. Once you get some of the basics, I think, YouTube and things like that are great. And if you just can't afford, or you just can't find someone that you're comfortable with, then, go with YouTube, try to go with someone. But there's, so many online classes also that, you can kind of sit down and go with. Once you start feeling confident and you're like, yeah, I got this, I can do this, then, go out to places like the Big Chill on Thursday nights where they have the jam, and, ask to sit in with the guys, and start getting a feel for it. Start watching people. Start paying attention to the surrounding, and try to learn from, as much as you can from them.
What do you mean by when you get comfortable? Yeah,
whenever you can go, okay, I got a G chord, that's easy, C, all that, and you're starting to get, a lot of the fundamentals down where you're feeling comfortable with something. That's what I'm getting at.
Okay.
I wouldn't go out there just because a chord and think that you've got it.
Right, because playing in a room is a lot easier, I would think, than playing in front of an audience.
Mm-hmm. And
there's no messing up time here.
And I spent hours and hours with a metronome. Just simply hitting one string,
right,
to make sure that my timing was right.
Right.
And so most of the recordings that I do now, they start out with what's called a click track, and you find the tempo of a song and you lay that click track down, and that's your bass that you work off of. If you're going to be coming back and recording other instruments, whatever, you can always rely on that to be your bass to work off of. And so I had a gentleman that Dennis Rohn, that I produced a couple of his albums, and Dennis is it's Christian, but it's kind of a Motown Christian, if you will.
That'd be pretty neat. I've never heard that.
And it was a lot of fun because I love playing that style.
I love Motown.
And so Dennis was Church of Christ, and so they don't allow music instruments in their church.
Really, I didn't know.
So it's only a cappella. And so he had his a cappella band, and they had done a lot of material, a lot of things like that, but he wanted to put out an album with music.
There you go.
And so what he would do is kind of fun, but he would actually sing into his phone, and then he would send me what he had recorded on his phone, and I would take that, find out the tempo, and then I would call a buddy of mine, Mike Lovelady is my always go-to guy for this. There's a lot of other guys that I use, for studio work. Mike and I have worked together just incredibly well, and phenomenal keyboardist, plays, drums. He was in the Arkansas Drummers Hall of Fame, you know. And so Mike and I'll sit down and we'll put these songs together. We chart them out and make sure that everything's done. I send them to Dennis, and he'll sing to them. And if he's got any questions, he'll ask me whatever. And then he comes in the studio and he records his vocals to him.
Oh, wow. Okay. I was about to say, so you're using that phone's audio on this, but no, that was just a bass to write down the format of the song and try to get all the structure the way that he's comfortable with it, and then chart it out. Make full charts out on it. That's awesome.
And so that's a real big deal, so that you don't have to apply everything to memory.
Yeah, that's awesome. Wow. Again, that kind of I think when I think about layering tracks like that, if you will, I think of Boston. I don't know why I do. I just do.
Well, it's pretty well the same effect. Right. And so, a lot of people say, well, what do you start with first? Well, it just depends. Sometimes
that's a good question.
Sometimes it can be a piano, right? That you start with, and so all you have is a click track, and you put down the piano to it, and then sometimes it's just a guitar. Maybe a guitar rhythm,
right?
And that's what you're going to base it off of. And then you might come in and put the bass guitar on, and then you add the drums to it, and then you start adding, the lead instruments, and then if it's got horns, whatever it is. So
I can sure dig that kind of. You got the click track, you got your piano, you got your guitar. Just doing that kind of stuff in layers would be so awesome.
Yeah. So I just finished a project for one of the Tony Bennett documentaries that's coming out, and there was 3 songs on it that I recorded, and it was a 18-piece band. Wow. And so we had we determined what the pianist actually told me what the tempo was. And so the piano, bass guitar, and drums come in. And they laid their parts to the click track. Mm-hmm. After they got done, then I brought in on this particular project, next it was the saxophones that I brought in. Mm-hmm. So I laid down 4 tracks of saxophones. And then we had the clarinets came in. They laid their parts down. Then the trombones came in and laid all their parts down. Wow. And after everyone had got done and everyone was happy with their parts, then the vocalist came in, right, and they sang, their parts to the song.
Awesome. So those are like stems, if you will.
Exactly. Yeah. And so it's, it's funny. People don't realize in a studio, you listen to a song and you go, oh man, that's a really good song. And it was, 3.5 minutes long. Mm-hmm. And what you don't realize is that not just the band, but the engineers behind it may have 70, 80, 90 hours in that 3.5 minutes that you're listening to.
Much, goodness.
And so, by the time you get done editing, you get everything the way that it's clean. There is a big process to it.
Wow.
Yeah. There's a lot to know, unfortunately.
No, but that shows that you put the time in if you know all this stuff. You know what I mean? You're not just a fly-by-night.
Well, no.
I mean, normally, you know what I mean? Yeah. You're not going to invest that much into something and then just leave it.
So whenever I started recording, it was all analog. Mm-hmm. And so whenever things started switching over into the digital world, mm-hmm, I had a computer. This back in the mid '90s, roughly. Right. I had a computer that I got a Delta 1010 card, and I was able. It had all these. It looked like an octopus sticking out of it. It was just a breakout that come out of the backside of the PC, and all these were different sends and things like that. And what you'd have to do is you would play the analog into the computer, mm-hmm, and then you could manipulate it and edit, do things like that. Any tuning that was done, like the Antares come out at that time, which is like what Cher used for Do You Believe in Live After Love? If you remember her, that kind of a computerized voice that she had. Right. That was the first test for the Antares. And so,
I didn't know that.
You would have to take that and do it in real time. Now I can take each syllable, I can take each whatever, I can put it whatever I need to do in order to clean it up. So a lot of the talent that we had back in the day, mm-hmm, like you're talking about with Boston, those guys didn't have that.
Right, they didn't.
They had to hit. And so what a lot of them did back then is their vocal tracks, they would lay down, sometimes like the lead vocalist would lay down anywhere from 3 to 4 tracks of him singing that part. And then they would blend them together so that the tuning would actually, it would make your ear sound like that it was in the perfect pitch it needed to be. Wow. And so it was quite a combination. And of course, as an audio engineer, sometimes you'd have to hit mute and work everything. And I remember having the big templates laid out where I'd had to mark, the board if I had to come back to it and all that stuff. Wow. It was quite a process. And then send everything back to tape, after you'd got done editing and all that. So yeah, it's kind of cool. I fought going to full digital forever.
I bet.
And I went, okay, you got to learn this.
Yeah.
You bought that Mac, you spent $3,900 on it. Right. I think you need to use it before it goes out of date. And so I finally broke down and I said, okay. And so I got a Mitch Marcoulier, who was the primary technician for Greg Mackey of Mackey Products.
That's what I was, when you said that name, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So Mitch come out with Greg Mackey's D8B first digital console. And so it's funny because Mitch told me, he said, I try not to go to work for Greg because I didn't want to work for him. And he said, finally I said, okay, Greg, give me one of your mixers. He goes, well, good. What are you going to do with it? He said, I'm going to throw it down 2 flights of stairs. If it still works, then I'll go to work for you. Oh, and that's what he did. He actually threw it down 2 flights of stairs and plugged it all back up, and it all worked. And he went, yeah, I'll work for you.
That's good.
And, it's similar with guys like Peavy, like Hartley Peavy, which is, a good friend of mine. And, Hartley is like... he's one of those guys, he didn't play an instrument, and so he relied on all these other guys, to kind of tell him what to do. Wow. Yeah. And so, it's pretty interesting, just how many, I don't know, it's just one of those things that, I don't know if it carries over or what it is, but you have a love for it.
Right. You've got to. Yeah. You definitely got to.
And it's just the way it is.
And it's one thing, I would think to be able to play the instrument and enjoy it, be in a band, whatever. It's another one to know the other side, the engineering side, as well as installing it and all that stuff goes too.
Yeah, it's...
you're wrapped in it.
It's very difficult for me to listen to music.
I bet.
It really is, because I'm too analytical. Not that I'm not trying to put it down. Right. It has nothing to do... I don't ever put someone's material down. Right. But I do mentally break down what, sounds like they use this compression, sounds like they use this verb, it sounds like they, I
bet it is tough for you to listen to music nowadays, especially with, I think a lot of people, say that a lot of people use auto-tune. I couldn't tell you because I don't listen to music, that much. Most of the stuff I listen to is music wordless, Yeah. But I bet it is hard to listen to music, nowadays.
It's easy to break it down, and most of the product that you hear now is auto-tuned.
Oh man!
Rarely do you hear straight performance anymore.
Goodness!
But that's not just. You have to keep in mind that whenever I'm tuning a voice, that means any solo. So let's say that you have a violinist that just can't quite hit the notes. I can put them right in place. Wow. Bass guitar, if his intonation's out, I can fix that. If it's a guitar solo and we want him to do something really fancy, I can take each note and put it where I need to. Wow. So it's any of the solo things that are involved. It's very time and tedious. Actually, Dennis Rohn, for instance, he wanted some harmonies on some stuff. So I took his voice and I created the third and the fifth harmony, and then I added a seventh into one other spot of his harmonies in order to create just a full, harmony sound.
Wow. I just got the capabilities with my video editing software, DaVinci Resolve, that if you read this sheet, I could copy your voice infinitely. And then people wouldn't know it if they didn't know your voice and your inflections and everything. Yeah. But it's that scary.
Yeah, it is scary.
And I mean, I can do it with, a paragraph, but it's like,
great. Is that what I've got to look forward to now?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm not doing that. That's scary to me. I mean, that's scary. The software does not need to be doing that.
No. And we'll wait and see how it is in another 10 to 20 years.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see.
Sorry, I'm keeping you too long.
You're good. I'm not worried about it, man. So what is one thing that people may not know about you?
I'm not that tall.
You do look taller on your website. I'm going to be honest with you.
Always shoot me looking up. That's what they always did in the old videos. We always had them shoot us, facing up so we were taller. It's like whenever I met David Coverdale from Whitesnake, I was like, I'm looking him straight in the eye. I thought he was taller than that,
How tall are you? Like
5'7".
5'7", that's what I was saying.
150 pounds.
Soaking wet.
Yeah. It just, I'm just not a big guy.
I'll trade you. I'll trade you this belly.
That's all right.
Guitar skill.
I'm okay. But
you're saying you don't want it. Wow, thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm good.
And that's how we
I have to work on this one too hard.
No, I hear you. Yeah. I'll work the other direction.
Yeah.
So, what is your favorite way to relax and unwind?
I stay incredibly busy. It's like if you try to hang out with me, you would understand what I'm saying. And so the time with my family, that's my time to unwind. Yesterday I was I had a show yesterday, but before my oldest son asked me to go on the lake. So my wife and I went on the lake, and I got to hang out with my granddaughter. Good. And that's precious to me.
Right.
So anytime that I get to spend with my wife, with my oldest son or my youngest son, who's getting ready to leave for Japan, and I'm like, Jimmy, I got to try to spend some time with you before you go. But I'm getting ready. I'll be in Beverly Hills whenever he is actually flying over to Japan.
Goodness.
And it's like, okay, yeah. So I mean, that's coming up pretty quick,
right?
Right. And it's like, okay, so spending time, like that. That's playing guitar. I have guitars everywhere.
Right.
And our whole house is themed around instruments.
That's
and
awesome.
So it's real easy for me to grab a guitar, and it's very common. I may be going to bed and something hit me.
Right.
And, oh, God, what was it? Saturday Night Fever. What's the name of the song from the Bee Gees? Lord, from Saturday Night Fever. Staying Alive.
Staying Alive.
So,
me too.
I said, honey, you ready to go to bed? Yeah. So we're getting things ready for bed, and all of a sudden it hits me, and I grab a guitar, and I'm like, isn't this how Staying Alive goes? Isn't it like this? So I'm always doing something like that. That's just a constant. And I have a lot of guitars. I have a lot of amplifiers. I have just a lot. But anyhow, it's from a lot of years of just doing what I do.
Right.
And so spending time with my family is something where it does kind of take me away. It is interesting. Eric, who is also, he's playing drums in my band now. Okay. Eric, I started out, Pete Generous was playing, he was the house drummer for the Jerry Lewis Telethon.
Okay.
But he also was with Tony Orlando for many years. And so he was a good friend of mine. I said, Pete, would you be interested in taking Eric on for drum lessons?
Yeah.
I think Eric was 13 at this time, and 14. Pete's like, nah, Brent, man, I'm so busy. I said, well, just spend a little bit of time with him. So he had a room where they had drum sets set up, head to head, and we went over to Pete's house, and they went in the room, they did their thing. They come out about 15 minutes later, and he said, well, we're going to start, drum lessons next week. Good. So Eric is solid as a rock, and I ended up recording many. A matter of fact, he's on one of the songs on the album, my release latest. He was on the Flying Blue Cubits that I talked about, and that album made it in 52 countries. Wow! It was like, wow, what? Wow. How did you even know about it?
Yeah.
But anyhow, it's so funny because Eric, I named Eric after Clapton.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't play guitar.
He doesn't?
No. Had a custom-built guitar for him at 5 years old, and he drug it around. That's all.
Oh, you're talking about your Eric,
my
Eric Clapton.
No,
I was like, I thought he played
named
guitar.
him after Eric Clapton, and he doesn't play guitar.
Okay, now I see.
He plays drums. Jimmy, I named after Hendrix, Jimi, and he plays a little bit of piano. Doesn't play guitar.
I love the piano.
So it's like, okay, but I'm very, very proud of my family.
Awesome.
I've been very blessed, very blessed. And fortunately, it's not easy to find people that are understanding of my type of occupation because of the demands that are on. Correct. And so I'm very blessed that, I have a family that understands what I do, and they still love me.
Good. Okay. So
that was a long answer for that.
That's fine. So, what's your favorite thing about living in Hot Springs?
I would have to say that living in Hot Springs, it is a close-knit community. And so it has its good and its bad. If you're going to do something bad, watch out, because someone is going to know about it real quick.
Right.
But it works the same way with the good.
Right, it does.
One of the things that I will say about Hot Springs is that whenever there is someone in need, Hot Springs really is supportive.
That's good.
Of the local people in Hot Springs. Whether it be benefit or just helping out.
See, I didn't know that.
I know so many people that, Lane Rogers has Carriage Homes. Lane is, she has the Shalom House. She also helps out, for the men who, the men's camp where, to help them get off of drugs and break addictions and things like that. But she also has many other places around.
That's awesome.
The Cabe family, they take care of so many different places, including the Children's Hospital. They help provide, the gowns and all that stuff. And it's just a very giving community.
That's awesome.
And so I don't see a lot of... I don't see as much narcissism around Hot Springs as I do a lot of other places. I don't see as many people that are closed up. There's so many people that they're happy to talk to someone. They're interested. They care about people.
That's awesome.
I don't care where you go. You're going to find people that they just don't care. They don't want to talk to you.
Right.
But in Hot Springs, it's like, no, it's cool. Everyone is. It's funny, like Shirley Van Dyke, we was with her at New Year's, and her husband, that was Jerry Van Dyke's wife.
Wow.
And, of course, his brother, Dick Van Dyke, everybody knows.
Right.
And Shirley, she lives not far from here. Shirley is she is such a blessed soul. I mean, she is just an awesome in the village, I mean, you've had Irma Dutchendorf, which was John Denver's mom.
She's from the village?
Yeah, she lived in the village for a long time
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You want Hot Springs Village, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Making sure.
Yeah.
I don't get out of these walls unless I'm doing something, you know. I don't never just stroll.
And then Bill Hunt was the bass player that did many projects, like for many different TV shows, things like that. Clyde Pound, he worked in Honolulu, and he's the one that helped bring Elvis in whenever Elvis did his big live show there in Hawaii. Wow. And all that stuff. He lives in the village. He works, still does all kinds of
that's awesome
of work, and so it's just there's a lot of people around here. There's just so much, and so that talent also brings a lot of love and with it as well.
Right,
and that's a big deal. That's a very big deal. So yeah, I would have to say that it would be the appreciation and love for one another around this town.
That's awesome. That's always good to hear. So I got to ask you this: what is your favorite album?
Boy, now you said Boston earlier, and that is one of them. There is no doubt about that.
The talent.
In talent?
No, I mean just the talent.
Just the talent in it. So I'm definitely a Schultz fan, but man, I don't have a favorite. You would have to start calling out genres, and so I like different things. I will say that I love the production work on AC/DC because it's so basic, But
that's what I said. I said that to somebody. I said it sounds so simple, but it's so awesome.
Oh yeah, and simple sells.
Right.
It's that simple. And so, which is funny. It's the same thing. Kiss. Mm-hmm. You know what? KISS stood for?
Yeah, keep it simple, stupid. Right?
Yeah. That's all it meant. And it's so funny, as a kid, it meant Knights in Satan's Service.
Right.
No. It just meant keep it simple.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been interesting, kind of, just learning the different, what do I like? That's a good question, because I don't know how I can learn that. I have too many genres, and there's so many different things that I can appreciate as a musician, as an audio engineer, and as a production artist. I appreciate anywhere from opera to red dirt music.
Wow.
And so
that's about how I am.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, and so I can't really name a favorite artist.
Right.
I can't name a favorite album. There's it's funny because the other night I'm sitting there and I said, "Oh, honey, check this out." And I said, "You ever heard this?" And it was Head East. Never Been Any Reason. One of my favorite albums. That come out a long time ago. King's X.
Oh wow!
Good friends of mine. They,
hadn't heard them in a while.
And Ty Tabor helped produce several of the Wilder albums.
Wow, I think I was listening to them in high school. Maybe. Yeah. I'm not for sure about. I mean, King's X is what I'm saying. That name sounds familiar when I was in high school.
Yeah, and so there's so many albums.
There is.
I mean, I go on and on and on, and the productions make a big deal out of it. It's funny to hear some of the other night we was going through some of the Skynyrd stuff, and it was interesting to hear their demo recordings compared to what they actually came out with after they produced.
That'd be interesting to listen to. How do you hear those?
They're actually on Spotify.
Really?
So, yeah. And some of the other things, if you want to know what a real talent is, start YouTubing and going on some of the mainstreams like that and pull up isolated tracks.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And you can hear things like Freddie Mercury and many different vocalists.
I think I got that.
You actually get to hear what the person sounds like.
I've got a rough version of that with that software. Again, I can isolate the vocals with DaVinci Resolve. I can actually you know, with like a lawnmower or something like that, you can just hear the vocals. The only problem is if there's a light tone, or range or whatever, it's going to cut that out too.
Well, sure,
right,
sure.
The first time I heard isolated vocals, I think, was Alice in Chains.
Oh wow,
yeah,
okay.
And it was I forget, it was one of his famous songs or whatever, and Man in the Box. That's
what I was getting ready to say.
And he's, you know, that I'm trying to remember the artist's name. I can't not remember his name. Lee Staley, or what's his name? I can't remember. But anyway, he's belting it out. Lane Staley, and he's belting out those lyrics, you know. And they're talking about, oh my goodness, you know. And I'm like, man, y'all, that's talent, you know.
Yeah.
It's that also goes to show that, you know, despite what a person looks like or anything like that, you know, that doesn't mean anything. You know, looks or nothing, you know, because that guy, you know, he looked rough, but he could belt out a song, you know.
Yeah. So, you know, that you brought up something and it's something that my wife and I have talked about. And one day she made the statement, and I was like, oh God, you don't mind if I use that, do you? And she said, you know how you don't judge a book by its cover.
Right.
Don't judge an artist by their gimmick. And so in that, what I mean is that you have people like Alice Cooper that have this stage persona.
Correct.
This, you know, this deal with Ozzy started a lot of this. And
right.
People was trying to judge. Well, I made the statement a long time ago, I don't have the credentials to be a judge. So how can I judge you on something? And so, but there's a lot of people that are, you know, that are judgmental about a lot of artists.
To put a review out.
Look, sometimes that gimmick is what sticks. Sadly enough, sometimes there is some artists, I'm not going to name names, there are some artists that comes out, they're just a little too much over the top, and they create damage. There's, I have had to record a lot of hip hop music, and it's fantasy. It's not that they actually lived that life.
Right.
It was fantasy writing.
Right.
And unfortunately, there's some of
the fans that don't know that.
Yes, the fans and youth that, you know, do listen to it, and then they want to pursue and copy that, whatever. Right. But because I've asked them, you know, man, has that really happened to you? And I've learned several new words also recording them.
Right.
But some of them I didn't want to know, but
no, but it sells.
It sells, and it's okay. It's okay.
So my second to last question I have is, is there an instrument you wish you learned how to play?
I wish that I would have learned piano and drums more.
I figured you knew how to play the piano.
Well, I do, but I mean fluid. You know, I really wish that I was more of a fluid player. I can play at a piano. The piano pretty well plays me. And so, you know, that's something. And drums, yeah. And you know, I own, you know, in several kits of drums, you know.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of artists that, Blas Elias just played on my kit not too long ago, and he plays with TSO and, you know, a bunch of different drum kits. Yeah.
Wow.
And so, you know, so it's interesting. But yeah, those are probably, for me, you know, there's so many instruments that are awesome out there, but you know, I own a theremin as well, so I enjoy playing a theremin.
I don't even know what that is.
Don't you remember in the old space movies, you hear ooh, and it kind of just an odd little sound coming out, and you're like, yeah, that's called a theremin. And it's one of those things that works. It's a electromagnetic field. You place your hand is where it actually kind of works. You know.
Wow.
I own one of those. You know.
Wow.
It's got it. So I'm always trying to work it, you know, at things. You know, I've got a set of congas that the Village people were the last ones that used them.
Oh wow.
You know, so yeah, it's kind of, you know. So I sit down, and I play those, you know, and just trying to learn. I'm very much. If a day goes by that I have not learned something new, then I wasted a day.
That's how I feel exactly.
So what's your last question?
My last question is, how can they find you? If they want to know more about you, how can they find Brent Frazier?
Well, I do have a website that's specific to me, and that is BrentFrazierOfficial.com, and it's BrentFrazier official, OFFICIAL.com.
You did.
And thank you very much. And it's early. Yeah. And you have BrentFrazierOfficial.com. Also, I have BigEventMusic.com, which is all one word, just like it sounds, BIGEVENTMUSIC. It sounds like an alphabet. Right. .com, BigEventMusic.com. And then there's a lot of links on my personal page that takes you to a lot of the projects that I've worked on.
So what services do you offer at Big Event? So if somebody lessons, I think Noah, my son, took lessons there, guitar lessons for.
Yeah, I'm not primarily, ever since, especially since COVID, a lot of things have changed for so many people, including my industry.
Right.
So I'm not doing the lessons as much. We primarily do production work. Out of there and recording now. And so I supply a lot of equipment for rentals, things like that. And a lot of the shows that goes on, I have the gear, that they rent for those shows. I take care of the Woodlands out here in the village, for a lot of their production work.
Right.
Just depending on where it is. And so for the biggest part, we do that in installations. We service, there's over 300 churches, most of the schools and colleges, many hotels, restaurants, office, official federal government, like courthouse, detention centers, things like that. Anywhere where there's sound at, we pretty well, kind of take care of it. All the way down to St. Vincent's Hospital.
Wow.
For Lockheed Martin, I had to design a dust-proof speaker. That they could, so they could actually place it in a room. They could place a microphone in a room, but a speaker has magnets, and what would happen is the carbon and the gunpowder would actually attach onto these magnets and accumulate, and it could ignite too easily. So I had to make speakers that would reject all of that. That was pretty interesting.
That's an interesting job.
Yeah. It's. I tell people I do the same thing every day, but every day is completely different.
Your office is on the road.
Yeah, you just don't know what you're going to encounter. So I deal with primarily audio, video, acoustic design, production work, whatever can pay the bills pretty well.
Right. And man of all the hats.
Yeah. And, I'm 63 now.
You're 63?
Yeah. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And I've been doing this. What does that put that? That's a long time.
No, I'm going to have to break up the calculator on that one.
That's a long time. So,
ask who, hey, what is this?
Yeah. It's and it's what I've always done.
Yeah.
It's just what I've always done.
You're 3 years old.
Yeah. So
that was 60 years ago. That's simple math.
That was not that hard.
Well, I was about to ask somebody, but
So, yeah, it's, it is just what it is. It's just, I guess theoretically you might say 50 years of doing what I do.
Right.
But, since I was really, 13, picking up most of it. But, I've never stopped. It's just one of those things that, it's funny. I was told that I have a thyromnesia, which is my memory works as more of an autobiographical rather than working in pictures, I work in a movie sequence. So I retain a lot of, so like most of the performances I've done, I can retain all of those. And
wow, I've never thought about that. I've never heard that actually.
Yeah, so I don't necessarily work with dates and names the best, but I can tell you pretty well any conversation that we've had and whatever you want to know about you. So don't tell me any secrets.
I'm not saying nothing. I'm scared now.
Yeah, but it's kind of interesting. It's actually it's not fun. But whereas my wife's got a photographic memory, it's kind of interesting. We don't get into fights. We have discussions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's and a photographic memory is like, actually I did take out the trash.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's stored here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
So,
well, Brent, thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you for having me, Stacy. It's been a blast. I feel like I don't ever like to toot my horn. I don't either. I don't consider myself just a guy is all I am. Right. And it's just the industry that I ended up in, and I get to enjoy it, and it's just that. But it has its challenges, and it's all good. Yeah, it's all good, and I appreciate you even considering me.
No problem.
It's very kind.
Of course I will. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for listening to the SWADE Pro Show. See you guys on the next episode.